Daredevil Born Again is finally here, and I for one am very happy that Daredevil, Matt Murdock himself, went to church, got baptized, and oh, it's not that kind of born again. Okay, alright, so forget what I said. Let's just get into what Daredevil Born Again is all about. Positives, negatives, and my overall thoughts on the first 4 episodes. So let's get started. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm giving you my first impressions on the 4 episodes I was able to watch for Daredevil Born Again. Thank you so much, Disney Plus, for giving me the chance to watch this early for review. Your boy's been busy, so I haven't been able to watch the entire season, but I'm gonna see if I can binge it, because after episode 4, listen, I need episode 5 to start like right now. But guys, before we get into that, if you do love reviews just like this, make sure to hit the big red button below, subscribe for your boy, help us get to 30,000, and let me know in the comments, guys. Which character are you most excited to see return for Daredevil Born Again? Any Foggy fans out there? Anyone? Fine. Alrighty, let's get into the show itself if you're unfamiliar with what Daredevil Born Again is all about. The series is created by Dario, Scardapane, and it's starring a huge cast. Of course, our leads Charlie Cox, who plays Matt Murdock, or Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Wilson Fisk, otherwise known as Kingpin, Margarita Levieva, who plays Heather Glenn, and even Nikki James as Kirsten McDuffie. Oh, okay, I didn't forget them, of course. You got Deborah and Woll, who plays Karen Page, and Elden, Henson, Foggy Nelson himself. Both of them reprised their roles here for Daredevil Born Again, and let me tell you, I had the biggest grin on my face when I saw them this season. So the show itself is 9 episodes, but don't worry, they're at least 44 to like 57 minutes long. You have to include credits with that, of course, so they're averaging an hour in length each episode. But the 2-episode premiere released on March 4th, and from this point on, the schedule, it is weekly until a certain point. You got episode 3 coming out March 11th, episode 4 March 18th, episodes 5 and 6 dropping together on March 25th, and then on April 1st you have episode 7, episode 8 is April 8th, and then the episode 9 season finale drops on April 15th. So guys, this is going to be a really, really exciting season if the first 4 episodes have anything to do with it. But again, without spoiling anything, Daredevil Born Again is all about Daredevil and Kingpin basically trying to put their past behind them until they realize they cannot. Eventually, they find themselves on an inevitable collision course that alters their lives and those around them. Listen, Matt, you want to be a lawyer, you can only do that for so long until you gotta start kicking some butt. In Kingpin, well, I don't know how much counseling Kingpin can do until the real Kingpin surfaces. But y'all, listen, again, I watched the first 4 episodes, so let me give you my positives and my negatives, but we're gonna start on an optimistic note because, whew, this has gotta be appointment television. If Daredevil Born Again continues on its current trajectory, I do believe this could be the best MCU television show since WandaVision, and it's been a long time since I've said anything like this. Did I hate all the other ones? Absolutely not, but the thing is, this season alone, 4 episodes in, I am blown away. It is good TV, and honestly, some of the MCU's best work. Take away the boundaries of television, it's still some of the best work yet. And one of the things that really helped my experience, at least, is watching the first 3 seasons on Netflix. So Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3 of the original series, you need to have that knowledge before you hop into here because it does help the experience. Why? Well, nostalgia is a heck of a thing. Born Again is already giving us what we loved about the original Netflix series, while reminding us that street-level superheroes in the MCU can still pack a punch, and I mean that literally and figuratively. There were 2 specific jaw-dropping moments within the first 4 episodes, and I knew, wow, the storytelling here is incredibly effective. There's been this weird quote floating around from the showrunner, but I'll be honest, a lot of this works, a lot of the writing works, and I love the direction of this series. There's also some effective storytelling on display. I mean, I adore how they work in between scenes with Matt and Wilson. I'm talking Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, of course. There's a lot of parallels between these 2 characters, and it's amazing to see it on display. Like we mentioned a little while ago, both of them want to leave their past lives behind, but they can't. And sometimes it's not too overt, and sometimes it is just right in front of your face, but it still works. I love how there's one example I can think of where Wilson Fisk is at the dinner table and the camera kind of cuts into his knuckles and you can see it's battered and bruised knuckles, but then it's a sharp cut to bloody knuckles running under a sink, and the camera pans up and hey, look who it is, Daredevil himself. So it's cool because it shows that they might be different, but they're very similar. There's a lot of great dialogue here as well, and lots of conversational scenes, so the series so far is not always action-packed, but I don't think that's a bad thing. If anything, I think it elevates this show, because imagine if they just threw in action all the time, it wouldn't be great. Instead, viewers, you should come into this adjusting your expectations and expect courtroom legal drama elements, expect moments where you're just sitting with two characters and watching them act, and act beautifully. We'll get into the acting in a little bit, but it does kind of mold together very nicely, especially for someone who was looking for a little bit more substance from the MCU as of late, and we're getting that so far in these first 4 episodes. And then there's the nostalgia. Man, just it's so good to hear the iconic score once again. Even though it's a version of it, the motif is still clearly present. The intro title sequence is incredible, but man, do I just love how they're blending elements of the original into this newer take on Daredevil. When I say new, I mean like modern elements, right? Like different filmmaking techniques. But again, this is just chef's kiss. And if you're looking just for the courtroom stuff, don't worry, it comes very early on in episode 2, so you're not wasting time here. That's the thing I love about these first 4 episodes. They didn't waste much time, but it also felt like we lingered long enough. I also love the technical elements so far in the series as well. The aspect ratio change is really cool when Matt Murdock is listening in and focusing on a certain conversation. It immerses the viewer, and you get that sense in episode 1 when Foggy's on a phone call, right? You just see the aspect ratio change. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Matt's trying to listen in. And that's pretty cool. There are also some beautiful establishing shots here of New York and its surrounding boroughs. It gives you a taste of New York City, and honestly, you couldn't ask for more. Everything just feels well thought out. There wasn't many moments where I thought, what the heck, why are they focusing on this random sign? No, there's a purpose for every establishing shot, and that was pretty cool to see. And also, I love the creative breaks in between scenes, and that comes by way of the BB report, which is this grassroots style news report, and it's half documentarian but also half current events, so it's not necessarily a film. It is like a series within the series, if that makes sense. And the reporter of the BB report is BB Ulrich, and the actress's name is Janaea Walton. She's a good fit, and honestly, when you find out more about her, I think you'll probably fall in love with the way the character is being portrayed, because I'm a sucker for the grassroots journalism types in these sort of series, and it's paying off, or at least I hope it will pay off. So far, so good. And if you're just coming to Daredevil Born Again for the action, it's okay. It's still on point, even if you don't get it with every episode. But you do get it in episode 1, because that there's this like one shot basically action sequence that you're so used to seeing in the original Netflix series. You get that like right away. So if you're looking for it, you don't got to look too long or wait too long. You got one between Bullseye and Daredevil, and it's so cool. And there are many brutal moments as well. The show doesn't hold back on blood and bones breaking. I mean, we got someone's arm being broken backwards in this show. And if that's just the first 4 episodes, what the heck's going to happen in the last 5? But again, remember, we don't get a ton of action, but when we get it, it's not that it's being reserved in a bad way. They're giving us the action in a well-timed manner. And yeah, we're getting blood, we're getting cursing. Listen, guys, just because it's on Disney Plus, they did not water this down. This is basically as brutal as the Netflix series. And I think that's saying a lot. Alrighty, now I want to transition into the acting, because of course all that stuff is cool, but if you don't have the proper actors in place, well, the show is not as enjoyable. So let's start with our leading man. Charlie Cox again plays Matt Murdock, or better known as Daredevil, and he does a terrific job yet again. Never in doubt. Like, we were never in doubt that he was going to deliver a great performance, but there are many moments in these first 4 episodes where he either is acting in a nuanced manner, or it is in your face shouting and screaming. And I'm thinking of a certain conversation between somebody who tends to wear a skull on their chest. But I loved what he delivered here. And again, his moments with Wilson Fisk, so good. There's also this lingering theme with him where he's still struggling with his superhero identity and whether he should feel shame by wearing the mask or choosing not to. But you can't have Charlie Cox without having Vincent D'Onofrio in Daredevil. So he plays Wilson Fisk, of course, running for mayor of New York, and he's like this Kingpin turned politician, and yeah, he literally is Kingpin turned politician. But I love the transition because he's trying to hold back and not show elements of his past life, but there are times where it bleeds through, and Vincent D'Onofrio does an excellent job at still retaining that menacing vibe. So there are several tense moments with Vincent D'Onofrio at the forefront, and he delivers, as he always does. I also loved his interactions with Vanessa, played by actress Ayelet Zurer, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and even his moments with actor Michael Gandolfini, who plays Daniel, one of Fisk's staffers in the mayor's office. He's literally a great fit for this show. I think we know Vanessa's Vanessa. She's coming in, and listen, you think Wilson wears the overalls in that relationship? Absolutely not. It is Vanessa. But I still love their dynamic, and they're working through some marital issues as well. So we see more and more grounded elements with these characters. It's not all superheroes all the time. This is the most grounded MCU TV series yet, and I'm not surprised because it's Daredevil. But yeah, I do love the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio fits with those pieces around him as well. But there are also incredible supporting cast members. I mean, the talent there is almost never ending. And it starts with Nikki M. James, who I really loved in terms of her performance as Kirsten McDuffie, this like rival lawyer at one point with Matt, and then they decide to team up. So we get a lot of 1-2 moments with them, and they're really excellent together. I know that Nikki gets most of her shine in the courtroom scenes, but even outside of it, she makes her presence known. Then there's Camar de los Reyes as White Tiger, or Hector Ayala, I believe his name was. And boy, oh boy, let me tell y'all something, man. Puerto Rican representation is on full display. I'm not Puerto Rican. I just love Puerto Rico. So when I saw the flag in the background, when I heard him in the way he was talking about the coqui on the island, I mean, there's a very specific scene where it's like this jail scene, and he's talking with Matt about Puerto Rico, and he misses the island that he's grown up and loved, and he just loves the sound of coqui. And I'm like, yeah, the coqui are like cool, man, you know, they literally say their name. But that was just adding to the authenticity of this show, and it's good because in New York there's a ton of Puerto Rican families, men, women, children. Like, it's nice to see it on display here. And then there's another newcomer here that I want to shout out, and that's Margarita Levieva, who plays a therapist named Heather Glenn. Now, she is Matt Murdock's love interest in this show, and man, you know what? They have some tender moments together, and I love that they are having fun. You can see that she's trying to break Matt out of his shell, but they do have some serious conversations too, so they're a nice 1-2 punch on screen, and I don't mean that literally. I don't, but you know, figuratively. So we've got awesome acting, some incredible action moments and technical elements, and you also have some really good storytelling here. But again, it's not a perfect 4 episodes. There are maybe a couple of things that I didn't necessarily love. So from a technical standpoint, while most things were good, you could track the action, the cinematography was nice, I do think that there were some elements of VFX and ADR that were way too noticeable at times, and it did break the immersion a bit. I actually noticed the VFX being a little weird in the opening intro sequence of episode 1. It didn't necessarily feel as fluid, and sometimes it felt far too smooth, and I thought, yeah, that is not a stunt performer or Charlie Cox himself. That's VFX work. So you can spot it. It's easy to spot, but again, it gets less noticeable as the series goes on, which is probably a good thing. The ADR only happens in some moments, but again, dang it, Madam Web, you really had to go there with all that ADR. Now that's all I notice sometimes. But yeah, I think those are the 2 areas of the technical side of things that are not as efficient. So that's one negative. But then there's another minor negative I have, and this is more of my nerves. They're introducing a new antagonist at the ends of a couple of episodes within this 4-episode bunch that I watched, and I thought, I don't necessarily know if I love it, because it could kind of pack things too tightly. You know, you're getting too many antagonists, maybe. I hope that's not the case, but I don't want them to do that and then distract from the main plot, because I don't want the show to lose its focus and just be, you know, Matt and a ton of villains fighting. You know, it would be nice to keep things a little bit tighter around the edges, so I hope that this new antagonist doesn't necessarily take over the story, but again, I'm willing to be patient and see what they do with that. So overall, you guys, the first 4 episodes of Daredevil Born Again are just excellent television. I was hooked back to back to back to back. I could not stop watching, and I'll be honest with you guys, the courtroom drama stuff was some of my favorite within these first 4 episodes, and I love the character work as well. It just is so good. It's something that I was hoping to see, you know, like, it might not be as great at the end of the day. I'm willing to say if it is, but I don't think it'll be as great as the original Netflix series, but it feels like it's right there, like neck and neck almost, and that's really impressive. So the team behind this, great job. I mean, the first 4 episodes are just something that you watch and you're like, I gotta keep coming back. And again, I think it is appointment viewing week to week. So I can't wait to keep talking about Daredevil Born Again. So if you don't want to miss out, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on that bell, and like this video as well, guys. Let me know in the comments what excites you the most or what makes you a little bit nervous for Daredevil Born Again, and give me your thoughts and your grades on the first 2 episodes when you watch them as well. Alrighty, y'all. Well, again, thanks so much for watching. Huge thank you to Disney Plus for giving me the chance to watch these episodes. And yeah, I'm gonna go watch episode 5 now. So, all right, leave me be. I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you guys, and I'll catch you at the next screening.